Hello and welcome. My name is Karen Shovit. I'm the head of the International Program in Peace and Conflict Management at the University of Haifa. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about our program, what we do here, and what you might expect to study if you choose to apply for this program. I have a short presentation, and then I'll also invite my colleague, Dr. Ann Putner, who's also a faculty member in the program, to talk about a course that he will be teaching. And then one of our students, Sofia Piscuola, to talk a little bit about the student experience. So this, as I've mentioned, we're the International MA Program in Peace and Conflict Management, operating under the Faculty of Social Sciences at the University of Haifa. Looking at our history, we were the first international program to operate at the university and to be taught entirely in English. So the 2020-2021 cohort will actually be our 10th year of operating in the program. The program is interdisciplinary, which means that we're not grounded in one specific academic discipline. Our view is that complex phenomena like conflict and peacemaking require the perspective of a variety of disciplines. And for that reason, we operate under the Faculty of Social Sciences and don't belong to any of the departments or schools that comprise this faculty. Very generally, describing what we teach about in our program, we present many diverse approaches to the topics of peace and conflict. What does it mean that we're diverse? Well, first, it's important to understand that when we're talking about conflict, our main focus is on intergroup conflicts, meaning groups of people are involved. You'll not hear so much from us about conflicts in families or conflicts in the courts between single plaintiff and a single defendant. We're looking at conflicts that involve groups, at least on two sides, sometimes even more of them. But even if we focus just on these intergroup conflicts, there are still several levels in which we can consider these conflicts. At the local level, we can look at conflicts in diverse communities where individual people with different identities, ethnicities, religions, cultures, beliefs, live together in close proximity. Those differences in identities, beliefs, cultures, and so on can sometimes or many times be cause for tensions and conflicts. But of course, there are many ways in which one can intervene to reduce this conflict and actually facilitate cooperation. At wider social level, we can look at conflicts within states. Many states have one dominant majority group that controls most of the state's institutions, but also many minority groups that seek to have their unique identities expressed and their rights acknowledged. And again, this is something that can lead to many tensions and conflicts within states, but also is a place where one can intervene to actually reduce conflicts and increase cooperation. And then finally, at the broadest level, we can consider international conflicts, which are conflicts that wage between states. At the most extreme level can become wars and violent conflicts. Other times they're handled by other means, like diplomatic means. And all of these things are topics that we consider as we consider issues of peace and conflict in our program. In the same way that we have diversity of the types and levels of conflicts that we considered, we also have a diversity and different levels at which we consider processes of conflict management and peacemaking. Scholars in this field often describe these different approaches to conflict management and peacemaking as a pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid, we have the so-called track one, or official approaches. These are approaches that mainly engage the top level leaders that have the power to make decisions and make policy on behalf of states or on behalf of a very large collective of people. Traditional approaches to diplomacy, for example, work at this level, at the track one level. At the mid-level of the pyramid, we consider track two approaches, which are approaches that engage not just the top level leaders with decision-making power, but also the societal leaders or the elites. So these are individuals with social influence, with standing in society and ability to influence many other people in society and to recruit them to the peacemaking process in the track two approach. Instead, or in parallel to the track one approach, we again recruit large number of society members to actually be involved in the process and to consider it relevant to them. And related to that, at the broadest level, or the foundation level of the pyramid, we have the grassroots approaches that are the approaches to peacemaking that engage ordinary citizens in the project. And these approaches are based on the understanding that when we're talking about peacemaking, often we're not just talking about signing agreements that will then be implemented by the top level leaders. These are processes that will have an effect on the everyday life of ordinary citizens living in close proximity to other people that they very recently considered to be their enemies. So what does this mean for the process of peacemaking, and how do you engage people in the process? All of this refers to the grassroots level. In the program, we will address all of these different approaches to give students a comprehensive view of various ways in which one can approach peacemaking. Looking now at the curriculum, about specifically what you might expect to study, we have two tracks in the program, two tracks that can lead to a master's degree in peace and conflict management. Track A is the thesis track in this, and track B is the non-thesis track. In both of these tracks, the students take part in 3 core courses and complete the practicum, which is an field internship that I will talk about more elaborately in a little bit. In the thesis track, students also complete 3 elective courses and a research thesis. A research thesis must involve original research, and it is conducted under the supervision of a specific faculty member assigned to be an advisor, and it's evaluated by the advisor and also by an additional external evaluator. In the non-thesis track, in addition to the core courses and the practicum, students complete 5 elective courses and write a graduation project. A graduation project differs from a thesis in that it doesn't require innovative research. It's basically writing up and integrating the what students have studied in the other courses. Often students write this about their practicum, but it can also be an elaborate summary paper written as part of a different course. Unlike the thesis, it does not require, as I mentioned, original research, and there's no external evaluation. Because of this, a graduation project usually requires somewhat less effort and takes less time than a research thesis. And so the 2 additional elective courses are make the 2 tracks more or less equivalent to each other. So as I mentioned, a very, very important component of our curriculum is the practicum, which is an internship that students complete at organizations that work in the domain of peace and conflict management, defined very, very broadly. To give a very general idea of the types of organizations in which students may be involved as part of the internship, there are some organizations that are working to try and promote Middle East peace, mainly between Israel and its neighbors. Quite a few organizations working on improving Jewish-Arab relations within Israel using a variety of approaches. Several organizations working on human rights and human rights advocacy in Israel and more globally. Under that, some organizations focus specifically on minority rights within Israel. Several organizations working with refugees, asylum seekers, and work migrants in Israel. And also some organizations working in the domain of promoting social justice and citizen empowerment. Again, this has relevance often to various marginalized groups. The practicum takes place in the spring semester, and in the fall semester, we do a process of finding which organizations are willing to offer an internship to our students and what exactly is available. And then we do a process of matching students to organizations and placing students at organizations so that by the time the spring semester begins, they're ready to start their internship. The internship is done in parallel to studying. So usually students devote about 1 day per week to engaging in the internship, and on other days continue to take part in the courses in studying. We do have academic supervision of the internship in addition to supervision at the organization. So students are required to complete some course requirements. So in addition to the courses and the internship, one other element that we have in the program that students often enjoy are the extracurricular activities. So we try to arrange several field trips to for the students to various regions in Israel where people are dealing with issues of conflict. As one illustration, the photo shown here is from a visit that some of our students had a few years ago to the UN base on the Israel-Syria border. Another kind of extracurricular activity is guest lectures by various experts in the field that are both academic and practitioners that have experience in the field. One example, this year we had a visit from a graduate of a program who is now the manager of the Haifa Center for Dialogue and Conflict Resolution, which is the municipal mediation center of the city. Simulation workshops are all sorts of workshops done as part of some of the courses that simulate negotiation processes, problem-solving processes, diplomatic processes, and so on. And then lastly, we have conferences on relevant topics. Most recently, we hosted an international conference on co-constructing shared society between Jewish and Arab communities in Israel. Who are the students? What you can see here is a list of all the countries from which we had students attend the program over the 10 years in which we've been operating. Of course, we don't have students from each and every one of these countries every year, but we do have a great diversity of students. You can see that over the years, we've pretty much covered the globe in terms of the locations that our students came from. There's a great diversity of countries and origins represented in the program. And one of the fun things about it is that in terms of the composition of students, it's very, very different every year, but it's always very interesting. Lastly, one thing that potential applicants want to know about are some of the potential career trajectories for graduates of the program. So here are some examples. This is certainly a non-exhaustive list, but to give you some ideas, some of our graduates have found themselves in international peace organizations like the UN and its various missions. Some have found themselves in organizations involved in human rights advocacy at the international level, for example. An example is Amnesty International, but there are also many local human rights advocacy groups in different countries. Students have been involved in aid organizations, for example, the Peace Corps for Americans. Students have found themselves in various roles and positions dealing with diversity and social exclusion in a global world. For example, positions related to migration and integration in various countries that are dealing with an influx of immigrants, and also consultants an issue of cross-cultural competence in various multicultural societies. Some students are involved in private consultancy as conflict specialists, for example, negotiation experts or mediators. Graduates can be organizations and community consultants involved in various processes that require coordination and cooperation of various stakeholders for better functioning of organizations or communities. And also deliberative democracy consultants assisting policymakers in engaging in deliberate processes that seek to involve the public in the decision makers. So when policy is made, it's not seen as adversarial to the ordinary citizens, but actually something that involves them and that you can cooperate with them. This is a very brief overview of what you might expect in this program. If you, also I forgot to mention, some of our graduates have also become social change agents themselves, or activists seeking to promote change, move the societies they're living into better places. So this is it from me. If you need additional information, I can recommend, first of all, visiting our program's website. Unfortunately, it's currently not entirely mobile compatible, so it's recommended that you access it from a computer. We're working on making it mobile compatible. If you have any questions about academic matters like the criteria for admission, prerequisite requirements, choices of courses, and so on, you're very welcome to write to me at this address. If you have any questions about administrative issues, for example, which documents are required for application, how to submit an application, and so on, you're also welcome to write to our administrative coordinator, Ms. Bella Botnick, at the address that is also shown here. So this is it for me. Thank you very, very much for your attention. And at this point, I'd like to invite Dr. Ron Kutner, my colleague and another faculty member in our program, to talk to us a little bit, or to talk to you about the course that he is teaching on consensus building. Ron, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Karen. And hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our overview of the program. I would like to speak particularly about a certain course that is taught early on in the program. As Karen mentioned, we focus on intergroup conflicts. However, in order for us to be able to engage in intergroup conflicts and to facilitate intergroup conflicts, there's a need for us to undergo a process of learning basic skills of negotiation, of mediation, and then move to group facilitation, which deals more with the complexities of intergroup processes. Therefore, this particular course called Building Consensus is about how to help you build consensus, first and foremost as negotiators, reflecting on your own personal experiences, thinking about your own challenges when negotiating with others on everyday matters in your families, in your communities, in your workplaces. This is an important reflective journey of learning to see the challenges and acquiring the skills that eventually will help you become better negotiators, and then taking these negotiation skills to the next level, which is serving as a third party neutral who help others do that. First as mediators, again, we go there gradually. Mediators work with 2 people, maybe 3 people, but this is on a lower scale, and that again helps you develop your skills, which later you can use as part of your toolbox as conflict specialists. We're here to give you a variety of tools, skills, knowledge that will help you come out of this program as conflict specialists who are grounded also in the practice and are able to serve as practitioners as well. I can speak for myself that I combine my academic and theoretical work with academic advisory to NGOs and organizations and community mediation centers, also mediating myself as a private mediator, helping with the work on the ground and mediating between theory and practice. So what your added value coming out of this program will be is that you'll be able to combine practices, but intelligibly making informed choices with regard to the practice with theoretical background that you will acquire in the program. So as I mentioned, from mediation, we move to group facilitation, and there you learn how to work with large group of stakeholders, how to work on a community level or policy making, consensus building, as Karen mentioned before, or other large scale processes in which you can serve then as a third party neutral who help facilitate and integrate the work of many organizations. As we move more into a deliberative understanding of democracy and try to help large groups work in complex situations and stakeholders to work together, and government facilitating and convening many stakeholders to work together. These are essential skills to help deal with today's complex problems. Therefore, this particular course is grounded in the practice and will help you develop the skills that will then later be combined with other theoretical courses. So that is what I wanted to share with you. Maybe one last couple of things that I would like to say is that as you will be joining us at the program situated in Israel, many of the cases that we will bring forth will have to do with the situation here in our region, in our area, dealing with the history and the presence of and the complexities of the Jewish, Arab, Israeli, Palestinian, Israeli, and Arab world around us. But we will not neglect also other cases throughout the world, for example, dealing with Northern Ireland and lessons learned from there, or South African truth and reconciliation committees, and other conflicts from around the world that will be part of what you will be exposed in our program. We will help you develop the skills and the ability to perceive the work of the conflict specialist as leaders, meaning how to help you cultivate the skills to serve as change agents yourselves that will lead change wherever you would like to take them afterwards, but also how to work with leaders and how to help them do the work in a more collaborative manner, and how to engage, as I mentioned, the complex problems with more of an integrative approach to help move social problems forward in a constructive manner. So we hope to see you with us, and we wish you best of luck in any decision that you will take. Karen.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Ran. So now I would like to introduce one of our students in the program, Sofia Biscola. Sofia, if you would like to please introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, what brought you to this program, and what has been your experience.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. And thank you, Ran and Karen, for having me today. As Karen just mentioned, my name is Sofia, and I'm from Italy. I'm a student of the University of Haifa of the program in Peace and Conflict Management. And since the professors focus more on the academic aspects of the program, I would like to give you some aspects that are really that I personally really liked. So I would like to give you a more personal experience. And so I could say many things. And what I would like to start with is the student body. So what Karen said is that it's very diverse, and at the program we have different, so many people people coming from different countries in the world. And I really like this because I was not used to it in my academic path before. And I have to say that having the chance to exchange idea, projects, and perspectives, not only with international students, but also with local students that can offer you their vision of the situation, their ideas, I think is really fruitful for our understanding of the situation and of the field. And also during these times where we have online classes, I have to say that the conversation, all the conversations we have in class are really interesting, and everybody is really open to new ideas and new perspectives. So this is something I would like to emphasize first. Then I would like to mention the fact that the program is in Israel and in Haifa, because I think like going to the places that, so you do not only study the theory, like you do not only read the papers and have the lectures of the professors, but you have the chance to go and visit some places that are so important for the field we study in, and having the chance to talk to locals, and having a more direct experience with them. I think it's what really differentiates this program from other programs I would that are similar, which offer the same like a similar academic path. And another thing that I really like is the chance to do the internship during the program. Also, if I'm not in Israel right now, as I mentioned, I'm still doing my internship with an organization based in Jerusalem, and they work for, they advocate for human rights, basically. So I do have a better understanding of what is going on in the field right now, and it is really helpful for my future as well. Living in Haifa is a very enjoyable experience. You do have all the things that a student needs, for example, the library and all the facilities, but also the fact that the city is very lively, and there is the sea and beautiful landscapes all over. You have all the facilities and activities that are needed to have like a perfect both academic and personal experience. And yes, I would recommend to visit the website. If you have any other question, please feel free to contact the professors and the staff. I'm sure they will be really helpful. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Sophia, for sharing your experiences with us. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. As I mentioned before, you're welcome to contact us at all the channels that I'd mentioned previously if you have any additional questions. And I hope to see at least some of you among our applicants in the future. Thank you very much.